Every 2 weeks, BoCo and Henry alternate between a train of scrap and broken parts and take it down to the smelter's yard. There, one of the scrap diesels takes the train and brings it into the smelting shed. They do this regularly, except the last 2 weeks of October, when the scrapyard closes to keep inventory and do its annual maintenance. At least, that's what they tell the Fat Controller. It was October 30th, and over on the mainland, Diesel and Rosie were shunting the scrap train for their yard. The manager approached while they were finishing up. "Our smelter shed is closed tonight, but we've got to get rid of all this rubbish." Diesel oiled alongside his manager. "Why not send it to the smelter's yard on Sodor?" The manager paused and looked at Diesel. He was always involved with something on the Northwestern Railway. Even so, he couldn't argue that it was in fact a good idea. "Brilliant, Diesel. And I'll ask you to take the train, since it was your idea." Diesel's face fell. He hadn't intended to go back to that railway, so soon after his previous mishap on Duck's line. "Sir, couldn't Rosie—" "Thank you, Diesel. That'll be all." And the manager walked away. Diesel was cross. Rosie tried to cheer him up. "Oh, do cheer up. This is the chance to prove yourself." "No, let me wallow in shame instead." And with that, he ran round the front of the train. Poor thing. Night had fallen as Diesel rolled over the Vickerstown Bridge. It was eerie. Something felt off. He turned down the smelter siding and entered the yard. His driver went to speak to the operator. The moonshine was bright. All was still. Bah! Shape up, it's only me. Only my worst nightmare. The driver came back and greeted Duck and his crew. "The operator says we're clear. Since you're a Diesel, they'll make an exception this time around." "What are you lot doing here?" "We brought fuel and workmen for the maintenance. They said leave it at the gate, but we saw it was open, so we came in." "Why don't you drop it off in the big shed? Save the other Diesels the trouble." "Wouldn't we have to clear it with the operator?" "Pah! If they ask, we say you're with us." Diesel and Duck glared at each other. "I can very well take care of myself, thank you." "Fine with me. If you get mistaken for scrap, all the better if I." Before he could continue, his driver sent him down the line into the big shed. Duck following close behind. In the smelter shed, Duck parked his trucks in the siding and joined Diesel. Men were unloading his train as the two idled. A Diesel rolled alongside them. Hello. Haven't seen one of you in years." "What?" "Steamy. None of your kind venture here anymore." "Shame, really." Duck felt uneasy, and even Diesel agreed. The hot air of the smelter suddenly felt really cold. "I can see why. I really think I must get going." "Oh, can't leave it a driver, can you?" At that moment, another Diesel buffered up behind Duck and dragged him into the smelting shed. "Help!" Duck cried. Diesel sprang into action. Harry, Bert, and Duck waited in the warm room. Duck was panicking. Harry spoke up. "If you just cooperate, this will go by quickly. You won't feel a thing." Duck was at the big station helping James in the yard. The Fat Controller was scolding Diesel after last night's incident. "I got nothing but complaints last night. You running around the smelters like a mad engine. Left your empty trucks in the smelters, so now BoCo has to go and collect them. And on top of that, you begging your pardon, sir, but that is a load of rubbish." Diesel, BoCo, and the Fat Controller looked at Duck in disbelief. "Diesel risked his engine for me, sir. They took me to the sheds to try and scrap me, sir." The Fat Controller looked at the two engines. He looked a little longer at Duck. "Well then, thank you, Diesel. That'll be all," he said, and turned hesitantly away. "Thank you." BoCo was still very confused. Duck's words played on his mind all day. He never spoke to the Ironworks Diesels. They never spoke to him. The only other engine who could share similar experiences with him was Henry. That evening, he shared his concerns with the big green engine. "They never spoke to me either. I just thought they were efficient workers." "Me neither. I don't want to doubt Duck, but something isn't making sense." "I would doubt him too, but after everything Diesel has done to him, he still vouched for him in front of the Fat Controller." "I want to go to the Ironworks tonight and see this for myself. Care to join me, Henry?" "Why not? I'll just ask Emily to take the kipper." Not a word of this to anyone. That night, when everyone was asleep, the two big engines ventured out towards the smelters. All was quiet. Everyone had gone. The doors, however, were wide open, almost as if someone had been expecting them. BoCo took a deep breath. It's now or never. With that, the two engines entered the big sheds. They looked around. Nothing was out of place. Nothing had been disturbed. "It seems in order. Maybe it was an off night." Just as they were about to leave, however, the sound of a diesel engine came, louder and louder. Henry looked at BoCo. BoCo looked at Henry. Through the smelting shed smoke, Harry emerged. He stopped a ways off from the two. "Well, good evening. What have we here? 2 for the price of 1. Henry wheezed rudely. "You most certainly do not. I just had to confirm something." "Really? What's that then?" BoCo quickly cut in. 2 smaller engines were here last night, and they said you tried to have one of them scrapped." "Yeah, what's it to you?" Henry's boiler ran cold. "I've been coming down this line for years, and you've never interacted with me at all." "What, am I supposed to know you?" "Why, yes. We're the 2 engines who keep you in business." "Let me say this. I ain't seen you two down these paths before. Stop playing games." "Now let me say this. We've been traveling down this line since before you were purchased. Do you really not know who we are?" "Clearly not. Now get." Oh! What's this? Henry. All was still. BoCo, look! BoCo opened his eyes and gasped. Where our face once stood, our grid was now firmly in its place, like a face had never been there before. It got cold in the smelting shed. Then, slowly, Ari reversed onto a nearby siding, allowing both engines to exit, as if, now, he wanted them to leave. Remember what I said, BoCo said sternly. Not a word to anyone. Henry, who was quite shaken by the ordeal, followed along silently. The two engines kept their word, and the night's events remained among friends and allies who would never dare speak of the lost souls of the Ironworks twins.